Ignite from dreams to reality.
I would like you to tell us how we can apply this. Most of what you've said has been product-based businesses. What about service-based businesses? How do we do this sort of accounting? How do we track income, outflow, and things like that for service-based industries where physical goods are not being transferred for cash?
I'll dwell on that. Okay.
You didn't talk about asset appreciation and depreciation, but my area of interest is depreciation. Um, in terms of machineries like generators, I don't know how can I calculate value of my machineries in terms of depreciation, and how can I incur them in my pricing?
Okay, I'll answer that.
For those people that are in food processing, you buy things in bulk, like granite oil, margarine. How do you calculate it into your overhead cost when you don't have to use everything at once?
I will explain that to you.
You talked about net profit. In a situation whereby your net profit is very minimal or is negative, how do you calculate your tax on it?
Okay. For the service industry, I know there's a best practice for service industry. Now, for service industry, there's a you can like for like in IT, they charge you per hour. For auditors, they charge per hour. If they spend an hour at the customer side, they tell you these are my rates. You have a standard rate. Now, if you're going to charge anybody service, that's what I said, you have to write it on an invoice. I'm charging you for 10 hours I spent in doing this and this. And you have a service report, a field report, I meant to say. That these are the things I did, these are the things I did. You know, integrity matters, values. And you demonstrate the things you did on the field. That means at your customer site. And the number of hours that you spend. When you get to that customer site, let them know the time you came in, the time you're going to turn in troubleshooting. Then you charge them, be professional. Send invoices. If you don't send invoices, you are not seen as a serious business person.
The key thing that he's saying to you is, once you've agreed that rate and you offer the service, raise the invoice. Because that is what helps you to track. And there will be no dispute. And develop the habit that when you raise the invoice, the customer signs an acknowledgement of the invoice. And you have a copy. That's why your invoices are in duplicate or triplicate sometimes.
Now, for the issue of depreciation. Now, basically, the meaning of depreciation is, and how it works is, I will bring it to you in a small thing. If you buy a machinery, let's say you buy a machinery for your production at 1.2 million. Now, there are standard rates in the industry that you'll be guided by your accountant. Like for everything, like I forgot to say this, I missed this out. Whenever you're starting a business, set out, business is a different entity from you. You are bound by law to register businesses. If you really want the business to go far and go places to outlive you, you need to. It doesn't take you so much to go to CAC and register your business. If you go to win any big contract, they'll tell you what's your registration number. And before you can get any VAT or TIN, tax identification number, your business needs to be registered. Now, after that being said, the depreciation we are talking about is when you buy any item you are using for the business, separate it. This is not for my personal use, this is for my business. Now, essence of depreciation is that you buy an item, say 1.2 million. You can't charge 1.2 million against your profit, to net profit. You make a huge loss for that month. What basically the standard is, that 1.2 million is a machinery. And that machinery, the lifespan of that machinery is 5 years. Now, if the machinery for 5 years, all you need to do is divide 5 by that 1.2 million. You will get a certain amount. That is the value of that asset in a year. Now divide that, what you get in a year, by 12. That is what amount you will get for on a monthly basis. That's your depreciation value. That forms part of your indirect cost. Do you understand me? That indirect cost is, when you are talking about depreciation, that is the cost of replacing that item in case it goes bad or it goes out of place. You have you have the lifespan of that product for 5 years. That means in 5 years, that product, it might still be working, but best standard. That means at that period you feel it has outlived its lifespan. But then you can still use it for another 5 years. But you have to use the accountant always love to use worst case scenario. And that worst case scenario is 5 years. It can actually last 10 years, but plus or minus. Let's peg it at 5 years. Do you understand me? And for the issue of the lady that spoke about you are in food business, you want to buy oil, you want to buy this, you want to make rice. That means you need to get invoice for everything you are buying. When you get the invoice for everything you are buying, if you buy a keg of oil and you have to have a standard. If I want to make, you'll be able to have work with a worst case scenario. If I want to make food for one person, what will be the cost? How many cup of rice will I use? What is the value of buying a Congo of rice? How many cups of rice will I have in a Congo? Do you understand me? Make provision for loss. Especially if it's going to take 10 cups of rice in a Congo. Now, and I need to make meal for a person, and the person that will be satisfied will be, for a person will be a cup of rice. Accountant normally use worst case scenario. They will put 1.5 cup. That's the worst case, because in the process, some of it can get burnt, some of it anything could happen. So you can now have a standard, write it down. To make food for one person, I will use 1 cup, 1.5 cup of rice. When you know that you can actually use 1 cup when you're selling. From groundnut oil, look at a portion. Look for a standard measuring cup. And say, okay, that measuring cup, how many of it do I have in this thing? On the body of groundnut oil, you will normally see 4 liters. Now, to make food for one person, what quantity of the liters will I use? Itemize all these things. So there are some things that you just look at it. You might just estimate certain things. You might not be 100%. It might not be. It just estimates. And you say, well, the cost of making for one person is this. Get the landed cost. That's what I mean. The food production costs. That's one. Itemize everything that you will spend. Now, I need to use gas. Gas is 3,500 in the market. Just say, and those ones, you don't need to input that, because those are indirect costs. Because you make rice, you make beans, you make other things with them. Do you understand me? Everything, all the pepper, everything. Just make an estimate. Okay, I'll use a pinch of salt. Do you understand me? Just attribute a cost. Worst case scenario. Do you understand me? In a bag, this is the amount of salt that will be here. Just attach a value to it that is not below, not overestimated. At the end of the day, when you add all those costs of making those things together, it's a little complicated. When you add everything together, you get the cost of making for one person. So if you now want to aggregate for like 10 or 20 people, just multiply by the number of people, and you get the cost. Do you understand me? You don't need to give invoice to them. On your own record, I made food for one person. This is the something. And from your record. Do you understand me? Then the last person, under the law, there's a tax relief for people who make a loss. They won't charge you anything. Under the taxation, under tax, if you make it, they only charge you tax on profit, not on loss.
But there's a minimum.
But there's a minimum they will tell you to pay. But there's a relief that would balance it up at the end of the day, that you won't just be paying at the end of the day. But those are basic tax laws, and I don't think it will affect you in any way.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Ignite, from dreams to reality.
Well, we've had a very interesting session. At the end of the day, what is important is for you to remember that business is about making a profit, staying in business, and growing. To be able to do those things, you need to keep track of your finances and have a clear picture at all times of where your business stands. Neglecting proper accounting procedures will not only be a death sentence to your business, but it can also lead to legal and ethical complications in the long run. So take the lessons learned today and apply them to your business. Till we come your way again, bearing the flame of enterprise. Keep the fire burning.
Send in your comments, questions, and shoutouts to our Facebook page, facebook.com/IgniteTV, Twitter/IgniteTVNG, and check out our website, www.ignite-tv.com